Hey Kurt, this is Richard Wilson from Mad Shelley Films, and we have a message for you.
This is Mad Shelley Films, and you're listening to Inspirado, Projecto, Radio.
All right, what you are about to hear is from a TikTok channel. This is my friend on TikTok. Her name is Jane. You could go to her website, janekim.info. She goes under the name Scorpio Dragon Moonface on TikTok. So here we go. We're going to play. This is her story of when she met an ET. Here we go.
A few years ago, in the middle of the afternoon, in broad daylight, I noticed an alien being or hybrid being, I'm not sure which one, walk by near me. They were maybe like 20 feet away, and they were wearing like an all-white outfit that was like long sleeve, and they felt like very high vibrational, and for some reason I just automatically knew that it was an alien, and I like perked up and was like, oh, it's an alien. And I didn't know at the time that it's common to communicate telepathically with extraterrestrials. Like I didn't logically know about matching vibration, like that sort of thing, but I automatically just started doing that. Like I automatically got up, started following it, and was like pushing out super hard, just like love and excitement, like the feeling where you're like really excited. Like I was just like pushing it out really, really actively and aggressively. So a few years ago, so that I could like higher my vibration in order to be a vibrational match to it, so that we could have an interaction. Like I somehow knew that that was the way to communicate with it, and I was walking behind it, and then like pushing out that excitement, and then it stopped walking, turned around and faced me. We were a few inches away from each other, face to face, up close. I was like, yeah, this is for sure like its skin was like similar to the texture of a beluga whale, grayish, greenish, bluish shade color, the skin. Very, very benevolent, and very, very like, just like I felt very, very safe. And its eyes were like black, and like the inner corners of the eyes were really long, which sounds scary, but I knew that it was really, really safe, and I knew that it didn't matter what I said out loud, but I just chose like for fun to be like, I like your face out loud. And then it was like, thank you. And then right after they said thank you, the entire interaction was completely removed from my memory, and I forgot until like 6 months later. Like it was like seamlessly sliced out of my memory. Like I went, like after they said thank you, like I went out about my day with no memory and no sense or feeling of like I'm forgetting something. Like it was just perfectly seamlessly cut out. And then 6 months later, I just randomly remembered it safe.
Wow. So there you go. Wow. That's quite interesting. It's Scorpio Dragon Moon Face, janekim.info. You can go to her website. A lot of these really interesting people that I'm meeting on TikTok are coming forward with their stories more often. And it's really exciting to me because that takes bravery to tell your story and know that there's a potential of your friends and family making fun of you. People go, oh, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. But the interesting thing is that, especially now in this day and age with all of this talk, now more than ever, there's just all this talk, the Galactic Federation, the UFOs in the sky, all these different interactions that are happening more and more lately. More of it is kind of out there, so it's not as much of a surprise. So I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. And Jane, thank you, by the way, for giving me permission to put this on my podcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to Inspirado Projecto. And if you know me from TikTok, You know, and you want me to put a piece of if you want me to put your video, the audio of your video on my podcast, let me know. If you want to contribute just audio, just call up 561-203-9179 call up the hotline, leave a message on there, or you can email me audio to inspiradoprojecto@gmail.com. You can email me audio of any kind, music, your cat's talking, the sound of you, close-up of the sound of you eating a sandwich obnoxiously, or potato chips. Any sort of ASMR stuff is really good too. All that ASMR stuff is just terrific. You know, if you want to send me the sound of, the wind blowing, or even the sound of your cat purring, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. We love it, we love it. Send it on in. Inspiradoprojecto@gmail.com. Send it on in to us. We'll play it on the air. We'll play it on the air. Yes. Yes, we will. We will play it on the air. Send it on in. Send it on in. So what I'm about to play for you now is another piece of the audio that Rob Fronabarger sent to me. I met Rob on TikTok. So you can find him on there as Rob Fronabarger. ROBFRONABARGER. This is a piece that he sent me of his son Avery describing an astral travel, astral projection situation he encountered, possibly with Tesla. All right, get ready.
His astral body saw me, and also he saw me when I saw him laughing, and he's done it. He actually looked at me because it felt like I was kind of sitting in a chair watching him. He actually looked at me and also looked at me in his astral body. But I wasn't in a person's view because when I floated up out of that chair, no one was there. So therefore, he saw my astral body. He didn't see me. I saw him and his astral body.
Probably sense your presence, which is something that we can do. If somebody sneaks up behind you, you can feel them. You can feel that, when Lindsay come up the stairs.
It scared me half to death.
Yeah. So.
Correct.
All right, so you and I will do it together. You ready?
I'm ready.
Repeat after me. I command my spirit.
I command my spirit
to take the thoughts in my head.
To take the thoughts in my
to
head
take the thoughts in my head
and put them into my heart.
and put them
into
into
my heart.
I command my spirit.
I command my spirit
to take the thoughts in my head.
Take the
to
thoughts
take the
in my
thoughts
head
in my head
Put them into my heart.
and put them
and
into
put
my
them
heart.
into my heart.
I command my spirit.
I command my spirit
Spirit
To take the thoughts in my head.
take the thoughts
take
in my
the
head
thoughts in my head
and put them into my heart.
and put them into my heart.
and put them into my heart.
Count after me. 10,
10,
10,
9,
9,
9,
8,
8,
8,
7,
6,
6,
6,
6,
5,
5,
5,
4,
4,
4,
3,
3,
3,
2,
2,
2,
1.
1.
1.
Now, okay, now let it settle in. Let's settle in. Okay. All right, now Jane, Ted, you gotta stop talking for a second, and forgive me for being flippant with you. Jane, now try and think. That is
I
a
can't
great
think.
answer. Right.
Because
and
I'm
so this
feeling.
is yeah, so that's where you live. This is where you live. This is the normal you. And so notice you don't really care about the house now.
I got it. That's
Now,
beautiful.
okay, Jane can do this anytime she wants.
Can every...
The real trick is staying there in your informal decision making and your formal decision making process as you interact with others.
Okay, so what you just heard right there was a piece of this just came out on the 30th, 1:30. They call this the Zora Call. Special call with Zora Q, Ted Maher, Mahr, Dr. Tom, and someone else. They don't say what their name is, but this just happened on the 30th on Blog Talk Radio. This is attached to the Zora of HollowEarth.com website. Billy, a.k.a. Zariah, he's the guy. I've been putting up videos of him on TikTok talking about going to the inner earth and stuff. And I just found out that he has a blog talk radio show. Basically, you could call in as it's going live. You can listen to it live, and you can call in and they'll put you on the air. This latest episode was 2 hours and 43 minutes. I'm 24 minutes into it right now. So that was I think a meditation of some sort that this person who goes by the name of Q was putting together. And the other people you heard there was a guy named Ted Maher and what's her name? Who's this woman? Doesn't really say. Looks like Ted Maher is an author, psychic medium. He's got a radio show. I'm still a little uncertain. I heard one of these probably about a week or so ago. So I'm still trying to make sense of this. But I do know that the guy Billy Woodard, a.k.a. Zariah, is involved with this. And if you go to my TikTok, if you're friends with me on TikTok, go to Inspirado Projecto. It's all one word. And you can see little pieces of the interview with this guy, Billy Woodard, who shows up on this Blog Talk Radio. He helps run the Zora of Hollow Earth website. Very interesting stuff. If you start investigating Telos, Agartha, Inner Earth, Hollow Earth, there's a whole bunch of really interesting things to dive into there. So, yeah. I'll put some more interesting things up here. I've got to share with you. So stay tuned, and thanks for listening to Inspirado Projecto.
Kurt, hello, how are you? It is Maria from the Strong Body, Strong Soul show, and I am so excited to see you over there on Clubhouse, the Clubhouse app. I've been getting a little bit involved over there, and I notice you haven't been around that much, but I can't wait to mix up the energy over there. I also wanted to let you know that I have become the admin on a group on Facebook for podcasters. It's called the Podcast Promotion Community. It has like 3,000 people in it. And so if you want to mix up some energy, go ahead and join that Facebook group, Podcast Promotion Community, almost 3,000 people. I also personally have the Let's Talk About Podcasting Facebook group. It only has about 15 people in it, but that's okay. It's all good. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Welcome to the podcast promotion community. Podcast promotion community. You're welcome here if you follow the rules. Please comment on other posts, but don't always promote your stuff on their posts. At the podcast promotion community. Podcast promotion community. Meet your tribe here. Trade some tips and tricks with fellow podcasters. Maybe be a guest on theirs. Find them at the podcast promotion community. Podcast promotion community. 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 Community, 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 community. At the podcast promotion community. At the podcast promotion community, community, community with Maria Humphreys. The time is now 1:19. Today is the 4th, February 4th. I can't believe I let it go a full day without paying my rent. I had 2 interviews today so far for Kapow IFF for the questions, for the Q&As, which will be running during the festival. I had 2 Q&As today. I have another one in about an hour, I would say. No, longer than that. 2 hours, I would say. What else? Yeah, so 3 today. I had 2 yesterday. There's still a list to carve through. These Q&As can go by fast, depending on who you're talking to. If the person you're talking to is used to only giving one-word answers, that's a little tricky. So every interview, you know, after you do it, you think about what you should have done or how you should have fixed it or what would have been better. You know, it's a process, of course. I'm walking right past the Lemley that we usually have our kapow at, by the way. I'm just now walking past it. Apparently Lemley is starting to do some online type of situation. Dave Uchansky mentioned something about that. God, it's beautiful out here. It's beautiful out here. It's fun. Very, very fresh. Very fresh. So these filmmakers, I'm trying to figure out ways to get them to talk more about things. I feel like I repeated myself in that last interview probably about 3 or 4 times. Yeah, the other thing too is interviewing these people and not, I mean, I understand there's certain questions. Some questions that are like, oh yeah, okay, what kind of camera did you shoot on? How long did it take? What was your budget? Sometimes you ask what the budget is. Sometimes they volunteer it. So yeah, there are those sort of particular questions that you're going to hear. However, or responses, as it were. But there are going to be those times where, it's like you don't want to use the same analogy that you used before. You find yourself going, okay, how can I, if I'm going to say the same thing, can I use a different analogy though? If I'm talking about the same concept, can I use just a different analogy? And so that's something that becomes fun and creative. Finding the alternate ways of navigating the conversation. Some you just feel like, oh yeah, we got a great rapport. I feel like we've known each other for a while, and that's something I got to just take into consideration is the idea of really paying more attention to things that they're talking about, little allusions to things. When they elude to something, follow up on it. I should follow up on that. It's interesting because a lot of my interviews, this is an interesting thing too. This is just coming to me right now. Like, these are done from my kitchen table. These interviews are being done from my kitchen table. And that was just something that I was not used to doing. Usually my interviews were, I was used to the K-Chung Studios, the radio station, using that studio. Or on the street interviews. Is there some sort of psychological, subliminal reflection that's going on in my brain as I'm talking to these people? What is it? Am I thinking, oh gosh, here I am in my pajamas. I'm wearing a blazer. But if we move the camera down, you'd see I'm wearing my pajama bottoms. It's total movie magic, baby. Total movie magic. My gosh. It's thrilling to meet each of these people and to hear each of their stories, to hear how they got the funding together to make their movies, to hear about the locations that they shoot at. Thank you. All of those things. Those are all fun and interesting to keep unpacking those things. It's just tricky when they use one-word answers when you ask them a question. All right, I got to go in here now. I got to go get the rent paid. We'll talk to you more later. Okay, it is 2:28. Today is the 11th. February 11th. Coming up in a few days here, we'll have the Kapow Intergalactic Film Festival going on. Man, Just so crazy. Whew, almost a little over a year ago, we started planning this thing, and it's been really interesting seeing how it's evolved throughout this time, the amount of submissions that have come to us, because now it's virtual. It's a whole brand new way of doing this. There's a lot more metadata involved. There's a lot more some mathematical type stuff. I gotta tell you, our buddy Matthew, interesting. I wonder if the word math is actually a shortened version of Matthew. Some people say Matt, but maybe it's math. Hey, math. Maybe it's originally math. And Matthew is the long version of the name Math. Wow. So interesting. So interesting when you think about it. Really interesting when you think about it. Math. The full name of Matthew is Math. Wow. Incredible. There's a lot of names like that. If you really look at it closely, I can't think of any right now, but there are some of those names, like where you wonder what were those points in life where those names got altered. You know, what was that point in life where... Because, I was just thinking of the word William or Will or Bill. Bill. Maybe someone was like, you know, maybe that just came out of just playful rhyming, you know? Hi, my name is William. Oh, hey, Will. Will, Bill, Kill, Still, Phil, Jill, you know. Someone just starts playing with the words. Before you know it, they're calling their buddy Bill. Is, you know, maybe it started as a nickname. Just like a funny little thing, and then it's stuck through all these years. Bob, short for Robert. Hey, Robert. Rob, Bob. You know, it just became one of those kinds of things where people just started playing with the language. Here's another one. Charles. Chuck, Charles, Chaz. What's another one? Chuck, Charles, Chaz, Charlie. Oh, yeah. Chaz, Chuck, Charles, Charlie. Chuck, Charles, Chaz, Charlie. I wonder what other ones they got. Now that's a word I haven't heard in a while. Charlie horse. Charlie. Such a great word, you know, if you think about it.
And I'm wondering
So yeah, that's been on my brain. I've been going through the Q&As. We've been having Q&As with the filmmakers, the project makers, I'd really like to, well, we've been doing Q&As with these folks and then uploading them to YouTube. And I've been labeling those too. There's this idea of really trying to get it as complete as possible. Matt is very, very thorough with this in terms of considering the metadata and the SEO and the ways in which, it'll evolve. In the search engines, he seems to have his eye on that. Really, 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 like a sniper eye. He's really got his eye on that stuff. Taking careful consideration of that. I think I've trained myself to just really create my own art. And sort of be unfiltered, sloppy, so to speak, with some stuff. Just try to get as raw as possible. I think I've been so used to that when it comes time to do some sort of stylized kind of thing like this, it's a reworking of my brain. All right, I've gotten to where I gotta go. I am here. I'll talk to you more later. It's 8:48 a.m. Oh, beautiful day out here. The wind is blowing good. The 12th. 7 days away from Kapow, which I cannot believe. Still got to figure out Twitch. Today, I'm going to be having a QHHT session with a woman named Erin that I met on TikTok. And as a thank you for giving her a shout out, she agreed to give me a session. So that's happening today, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm so curious. I'm so curious to see what's going to happen with this. This is my first QHHT. I've been wanting to do this. I've been hoping to do this. Ever since I first started reading Dolores Cannon and her quantum healing hypnosis technique journeys. Boy, this is like... Oh, man, I'm so curious. I'm curious what's going to come through concerning the film festival. So, I'll give you another update with all of the astounding revelations. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the session on my... record the audio on my iPad, so that way we can review that. Wow, I'm so curious. All right, I will give you the update. Wow, it's 7:47 p.m. It's now the 15th. 4 days away from Kapow Intergalactic Film Festival. And by the way, don't think I've forgotten telling you my QHHT experience. I will tell you that. But what's taking my immediate attention is the fact that I've been watching this series on Netflix, phenomenal series called Midnight Gospel. This series is absolutely, it's so layered, it is convoluted with metaphors and, oh my God, such a unique sensibility and style about this thing. They take podcasts, they take the audio directly from Duncan Tercel, I think that's his name. He's got a podcast, and what they do is they take pieces of his podcast and then they animate to it, and it's crazy because you'll have these like completely in-depth philosophical conversations going on with these guys, and there's all this madness, all this like just craziness going on around them. There are things just like falling apart and things exploding and people losing their mind, etc., etc., etc. Meanwhile, you see these people, you see these characters just talking about philosophy completely nonchalant and just, going about their business. And it's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's got that rewatching, you can rewatch it and rewatch it again. And, God, it's just great, man. It's just so cool. I recommend it to any cosmonaut. Anyone who is tuned in. Anyone who thinks about life, philosophizes about their connection to the universe. This is...
Thank you, and thank you again.
This is a kind of podcast for that. Or this is basically a TV show for that. And what's so interesting is that there are all kinds of guests on the show that are from all walks of life. And the premise is that there is a guy named Clancy who has this simulation machine, a machine that looks like a big vagina, and he plops his head into it, and then it fires him off. It shoots him off into a whole nother planet, a whole nother universe, basically. And each of these places he visits are basically falling apart. All this craziness just seems to be going on in these places. And God, it's just so incredible. I mean, it's crazy. The more that you watch these things, there's this there's this exciting process that happens as it just keeps unfolding, and you keep seeing more and more interesting little giblets, interesting little tidbits that are presented in the show that you're not going to see anywhere else. At least not, I mean, it's a rarity, let's just say, to see this type of stuff. And it's one of those things where, like I talk about this all the time, but what's old to you, what's old to us, let's say you've created things in the past, you've created art projects, music, etc., etc. That stuff that you have created, let's say you create something back in the 80s or something. That might be old to you because you did it so long ago, because you're so familiar with it, because it's territory that you've covered backwards and forwards and all words. Backwards, forwards, and all words. All words. So to you, yeah, it's no big deal. No big deal. But to someone else, it's a brand new thing. You better believe it. And that's the same thing with this show. These podcasts are a few years old, but the audio they take out of it, bam. They slice it, dice it, zip, put these ingredients into this extraordinarily animated. See, there's so much going on in the animation. That's another reason why you got to keep watching it again and again. Because there's a lot going on in the background. There are a lot of little interactions. A lot of things that are happening. And it's crazy too, because every once in a while the characters will interact with what's going on in the environment. So you wonder, at least I'm wondering, like, okay, were these all just taken from the same interview? Were these all a part of the same podcast episode? And then they just take them out and they just, place certain words in certain places. Or is it a combination of both? Or do they have the podcast and they go, oh, okay, we got an idea. This is what the cartoon is going to be about. Now we got to go back and get a hold of these guests that we had and ask them to contribute more dialogue. Especially in this day and age, which was so cool, that everything's being done remote. So all you need is a smartphone. All you need is a smartphone that can record your voice. That's it. That's all you need. I was watching an interview with this producer that was on Twitter. On Twitter, it was trending, and I didn't even know what it was. Here, this just goes to show you how much or how little I listen to Kanye West. There's something on Twitter about some kind of song or album that Kanye West had done, which I didn't even know when I first saw the thing. But what's interesting is the guy that was being interviewed for this particular this Twitter trending topic, the guy that was being interviewed was apparently a producer of the Kanye West album in question. And he was admitting that he had created, as he has with many, many, many of his albums, he created it on his iPad. He created it on his iPad. What a huge sigh of relief that must be for anybody and everybody. It goes to show you don't need a multi-million-dollar studio to create stuff. You don't need it. You don't need it. If they tell you need it, they're lying. Because people are creating award-winning albums with their iPads. So keep that in mind. Billie Eilish, right? She and her brother making stuff on GarageBand. They're making these albums that are like, huge. Anyway, I'll be back. I'm where I need to be right now. Hold on. All right. I will tell you the full story that happened to me with my past life regression. We were able to get through one of these things. And I'll tell you to you some other time. However, what I do want to tell you now is that our film festival, Kapow Intergalactic Film Festival, it's happening from the 19th till the 28th. I would love it if you showed up. We're going to be playing it on filmocracy.com. This is a website that has hosted quite a few film festivals, virtual film festivals, over the past year particularly. Isn't it strange to think it's basically been a year since we've been on lockdown? I think people are starting to question things more and more now. I'm starting to see it, at least, on TikTok. Many folks are breaking away from their news sources. And as a result of that, you start regaining your own intuition. You start regaining your own connection to your higher mind. All of that starts coming back to you because you're starting to learn and discover what your own thoughts and words are and where they're coming from. You're not recycling the same old dialogue with the same old people who are holding each other accountable for knowing that kind of information, that they're all... It's like class, they teach us at a young age to study, get all the facts and figures right. And then, as students do, they talk with each other over these things. They're in their study groups, and then you admonish anyone who is not doing that. So what's been happening is, as people are breaking away from their favorite news sources, they're starting to awaken to the social constructs that are set up around. I think a lot more people are becoming, what's the word? They're becoming, upset, but they're becoming unaffected by their news and politics. They're getting fed up with it. They're getting tired of it. They're getting tired of told what to say, what to think, how to think it, who to police, who to be policed by, who to look out for, who's going to tell on you. So, a lot of that is happening. The things I see on TikTok, it's a microcosm for what's going on out there in the world. So it's good news, very good news. More people are waking up to their own divinity, to their own infinity, to their magical powers, all that jazz, all that razzmatazz. More and more people are dialing in, tuning in to the teachings of Dolores Cannon, really big time Alan Watts. Alan Watts is like spreading like crazy. Abraham Hicks, more and more folks are waking up to this stuff. Also, Galactic Federation, extraterrestrial type talk. More and more folks are waking up to this. And they're becoming less and less afraid and or ashamed of telling their stories of being abducted by ETs, talking about their astral projections, all that stuff. So Kapow Intergalactic Film Festival has entered into this at just the right time. This year we really didn't get maybe two political projects, and that's it. I was very proud of our filmmakers for embracing their talents over trying to get out some sort of political message. You can always tell. You can always tell when people are slipping in their political messages. You can always tell. And it's like, well, I know that you're doing this to try to rope in all these other people who might not be into what you're talking about. I know that's the intention, but really they end up just talking to their own people, so to speak. So the good news is we've been getting more and more experimental films, extraterrestrial type films, things that deal more with imagination and moving forward type of stuff. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. And so we've been having these meetings on Zoom and various Google capacities. And it just feels so good to know that we are helping sculpt a new reality for people a fun reality for people, a coming together kind of reality. This opens it up so much more than it ever has before. In the past, obviously, and I think you might have heard me talk about this. In the past, we had you got a theater, and let's say you accept, I don't know, 150 films into that festival. How many of those people are actually going to be able to afford to fly out from whatever country they're in, whatever state that they're in? How many of them are actually going to be able to afford to do that and pay for their lodging while they're in town? And then for their screening, how many people are showing up for that screening? So this is such an awesome thing because, so in the old way, let's go back to the old way. So we had the Lemley Theater. Let's say, like, we had a guy who came in from North Carolina. And I remember he sent a letter to us going, hey, there wasn't much, there wasn't many people at my screening. And we replied like, hey, that's, the amount of people in your screening are determined upon how much you push for people to be there at your screening. So, it's up to it's a collaboration. The experience is a collaboration between us and the filmmakers. And having it worldwide, having it available to anybody and everybody, that means that they're moms and dads and friends and neighbors and all the cast and crew and everybody has that opportunity of seeing it online. And yes, we're having specific times that these movies are going to be playing. Yeah, they're going to be specific days, specific times for particular blocks. But really, those films are going to be able to be viewable at any time, at any point throughout that 10 days. And it's only $10 for the entire festival. We're not doing day passes. We're not doing week passes. We had such a tricky time trying to figure that out. And then Matthew M. Jones, hitting it out of the ballpark every time. Our webmaster extraordinaire, just is such a awesome at what he does. He's a fellow Columbia College graduate. He's got that Chicago work ethic. He goes, hey, what if we do just $10 for anything? And I go, whoa! And it was just like in the Blues Brothers, I have seen the light. It was like, oh. So, wow, I'm so excited. So anyway, check out Kapow IFF when you get the opportunity. Check out Kapow IFF and see what we're up to. It's coming up. It's coming up.
Can you hear the echo of it? Can you hear the echo of it? My UFO experience is what's up. The echo of it? Do you hear the echo of experience is what's up? Because I have my Twitch studio on. Do you hear the echo? And I also have Twitch. Because I have my Twitch studio on. Do you hear the echo? So do you also hear the echo, or do you just only hear studio on?
What you just heard there was from someone called My UFO Experiences. They're a person that I met on TikTok, and I'll be interviewing them in the lobby. Kapow IFF, right there, what you heard, they sent it in to me. That was a piece of me testing out my equipment because we discovered that we can go through Twitch, and then Twitch goes right into the lobby area. So the lobby is free. Visit us in the lobby. In fact, today, the 23rd, today's the 23rd, by the way. And, okay, so today at on the 23rd at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to be interviewing folks from the Old Timey Spectral Hour. And I'll let you know when I interview my UFO experiences in there, because you're gonna wanna hear these stories. Hop on and in and out of the lobby. It's free to hang out in. It's on Filmocracy. Go to kapowiff.com and you'll see a banner for Filmocracy right there on the website. Go click on that. That'll take you to the Intergalactic Virtual Theater, and you go into the lobby and you can hang out there. There are people in there, all at different times of the day, 24 hours a day. Now, should you decide to attend the film festival, the actual film festival, which took us about a year and a half to put together and get together, all streaming specifically on Filmocracy, it's $10 for an all-access pass. $10 all-access pass all the way up until the 28th. It's 5 more days of seeing any of these motion pictures. $10 all-access pass. And when you get that, you get a free download link to Scaramanga Silk's album, Designer Scribble. We've had Scaramanga Silk on here before. I've split it up into 2. You look for those. You could find those episodes. So his album, which we talk about in those episodes, he's given away for free to every ticket person. So it's pretty cool. Plus, you'll be able to this will offer you, so you buy a $10 all day all access pass. You're gonna be able to see any movie anytime you want. There's also scheduled times for specific blocks of films, and you could find the schedule there at right there on the theater if you click on it. Also, it'll entitle you the ability to win prizes from our sponsors. Sam & Max Save the World Remastered, that's a video game. Video Leap editing software, smartphone editing software, and then Final Draft screenwriting software. So these are the things we're giving away to those who participate. So yeah, come on in and out of the lobby. It's fun. A lot of interesting people here, and we'd love to meet you. So take care, everybody. Check it out, please. Kapow Intergalactic Virtual Film Festival 2021. We'd love to see you there.
This is Blythe Baines, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.